Okay.
Are you going to clap us in?
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Ready?
No, I'm not ready.
Am I going to clap you in?
Yes, you're good.
Ready, steady? It has literally been, I think our last podcast was March.
Was it March?
It might have been June.
It
was certainly no.
No, it was because we started recording YouTube in April.
Okay. Time is not my strong suit. But anyways, it's been a minute.
It has been a minute, and we are back, I guess?
We are back. We're going to be doing our best. So you guys...
we always talk about how hard it is, but you guys know how hard it is. Like, everybody else.
It got harder. And we've talked about how this podcast takes like energy and intention and love, and that's a good thing. That's purposeful. But sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, we don't have it. And we haven't had it for a minute.
I feel like we need to start over.
Why? This is us being real.
Is it? I don't know. It feels like a gentle, like, strange, like, I don't know.
David's giving us a thumbs up.
Yeah, to start over? No, he wants us to keep going. He likes that we're gentle and real. He knows us, though, and he knows that we're not really what we'd call gentle. Real is definitely a little bit. So David is here. He's sitting over here supervising. He is, what, your new roommate?
He's my roommate, yeah.
So we decided something different. One of the things that we were trying to figure out, we've been on a journey, and we're going to definitely talk about, not about what's been going on, but, you know, what's been on our mind and what's been on our hearts. But one of the things that we decided is we were watching our YouTube videos going, I never went.
I'm obsessed. I think we're the most amazing people in the world. I literally watched multiple of them 3 times.
Okay. Well, I didn't.
Which everybody has their own experience, and you're allowed, Tresla.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, is it too shady?
No.
So one of the things that I think that I wanted to start trying is sometimes I'll watch YouTube, or sometimes I'll watch something and I will want to, like, it's in the background while I'm working. That's what podcasts are, you know, when we're driving, that's when we usually listen to podcasts.
I love to do laundry and listen to podcasts.
And so one of the things I thought is, Guru and I have like this whole secret life where we do arts and crafts, and I don't know how secret it is, but we have our own struggles with different things, but we also love a lot. Like, we love to paint. She loves to start it. I like to finish her paintings.
Right. I love to start it. Hate it, overthink it, obsess about how it's not exactly the way it was in my brain, and abandon it.
And so I thought, so when Shabd and I first met, I wanted to learn how to crochet. So I thought that this would be a fun throwback to everything that we're doing. And she taught me how to crochet. So what we're going to do is, while we're on YouTube and while we're doing a podcast, if you're doing arts and crafts, that you're at home and you're doing something else and you just want someone to work alongside with, you're going to be able to do that with us. So any fun noises you guys hear in the background, those of us who are listening to it in the car and not watching on YouTube, know that on YouTube, we're over here. We're literally just...
We're
crocheting, we're drawing, we're painting, we're learning how to pot a fucking plant. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know.
I can't with plants right now. But this is your invitation, if you can safely do so, for instance, not in a car. This is your invitation to do some gentle self-care to remind you that you're good at stuff and you deserve to have a sense of agency. I feel like you can accomplish things, even if it's just finishing a coloring thing. Or maybe you want to crochet. I learned to crochet from my grandmother when I was, I would have been like maybe 6 or 7. And it's always been a really lovely grounding experience for me, and I miss it. And guess what, you guys? It's hot in LA, and so I can't knit here or crochet. It makes my
She does this every year. Every year.
I have exactly like 3 months where I can like crochet and not hate it. Because even when you use cotton yarns, it's terrible. This is not, you guys, surprise, this is a knitting podcast now.
It's not.
It's not.
It's 100% because these are crochet needles. Also, I told her so Shabd can knit. I told her to put them down because in the headphones it sounded like clack, 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 clack.
We're not an ASMR podcast yet. I was going to say, we can do whatever we want.
But, so I'm going, so fun fact, today I think we're going to talk a little bit about insecurity.
We're going to talk about insecurity.
I have been going through, I don't know, what am I going, like hell?
It's like
hell is like on earth, like living. Is living hell a thing we can talk? Anyway, that's what I've been going through. But fun fact, before we get started on my living hell and insecurity, I made this yarn out of a
Yeah,
t-shirt.
you did.
So those of you guys, I'm going to start posting this kind of stuff on my own Instagram, my personal one. I upcycle things. I believe in as much reusing as we can. An old piece of furniture can be something new. One of my hobbies is to refinish furniture. I don't know if you can see the piano in the back because I forgot how I framed the shot, but the piano in the back was one color. It is now red and needs 2 or 3 more coats.
And it's beautiful.
This is made out of a t-shirt, an old t-shirt that someone was getting rid of. It was still good fabric, and so I took it and I made it into yarn. 100% cotton. It's very exciting. Here in LA, it's not often that we need to wear
Yeah, you don't need like a fully wool. That's madness.
It's very intense, and it's not. And this right here is the first thing I've ever crocheted in my life. I'm so proud of it. I won't get rid of it. It's let me see if I can reach it. It went from something into something skinny, and like, for those of you, so imperfection is fun.
Yes. Well, and let's talk about how we mentioned like how I like to paint and then abandon it. Part of it is because I worry about failure, and if it's not perfect, then I hate it. There's gonna be a lot of that. And so Tresla powers through stuff, and that is something that I have always admired in her. This is represented in this scarf, where like you used 3 different colors all over the place. The stitch count is wild, but it has a lot. Like that's why you do homemade things.
Wild. I also haven't counted how many I've done, so now I have to start over.
We're making up our stuff as we go along. So so Tresla's been going through a lot to make her feel insecure, and she's going to share exactly as much as she wants to. But I've also been having my own challenges because I've been, I got back on the Bumble, you guys. And surprise, it brings up every single insecurity I've ever had. And it's not, listen, I'm not like super basic and boring. It's not like, oh, am I like ugly to people like me? It's like, do I want to participate in a system that I think by definition sort of like dehumanizes people? It turns you into this weird like paper doll where your profile is like this very tiny sliver of who you are, but you can't share more because that makes you look insane. I don't know if you've run across a Tinder or a Bumble profile where people have like 3 or 4 paragraphs and you're like, whoa, homie.
Oh, I always fill the whole thing out.
I fill the whole thing out, but we're not trying to make a novel.
I might be.
And
here's the thing. So I talked to a bunch of guys, you know, like as I was in the Tinder world before. Fun fact, guys, I have a boyfriend now.
Oh, well.
And I'm very excited about it. That came out really soon. I have a boyfriend. I just wasn't sure how much I'd like to share with the world that I have that, but I do. And he's wonderful, and I adore him, and I love him, and that's something that's happened since we've been gone. But I will tell you my experience from so I haven't been swiping in a hot minute, but when I used to, one of the things I did is I would ask the guys, especially, you know, some of them we turn into friends. I'd ask them, what did they look for? How did they figure out what to say first? Especially with Bumble, girls are expected to talk first and say hello.
Well, that's the rules, and theoretically that would protect you from creepers because
it protects you from no such thing. Because you know what? Guess what? Bumble allows you to send pictures back and forth. I'm sorry. Like, how did you expect a dating app to not be creepier than being able to send the pictures and videos back and forth? Well, whatever.
And
I'm sorry. Safety for women, but here he can send you more images. I have a thing. Anyway, so I did like the paragraph because one of the things that they said is they look, you know, guys who are actually interested in you would look through your information to give you something to say. Like,
are you like an Easter egg person? Like you're going to add little nuggets? Like I've seen where dudes have like, answer this question so I know you've read my stuff.
Okay, that shit is like, as someone who's like actively looking for a job or I'm a freelancer, that kind of stuff makes me insane. Like, read us to the end. Like, I read to the end.
Please trust that I'm an adult that knows what I'm doing. Well, but here's the thing. I both hate it because it feels like you're creating I'm not here to like solve Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom style puzzles.
No, that was the worst one of
like, I haven't. It's been a long time. I have no opinion on the Indiana Jones films. So I appreciate those little nuggets because then guess what? I don't have to think about what I'm going to say to you. I'm going to ask you about your favorite flavor of salsa or whatever you've talked about, which I appreciate. But so the reason I'm talking about insecurity with this is I am not dating successfully, I will tell you that. I'm dating successfully in that I guess I haven't like incurred any like serious physical or emotional trauma. But I am constantly frustrated.
Is that where we are? Like,
yes, that is where I
haven't incurred physical trauma, therefore I am successfully dating.
I haven't gone home with any murderers, and that's a big win.
You did go home with a cookie.
But let's talk about how the fact that I also haven't met any people yet. It's fine. Well, and so what brings it up for me is, again, not the insecurity of like, oh, I'm like not pretty enough, or like people don't like me. It's like, boy, I must be playing a whole different game than everybody else. Like, other people are not.
So it's like everyone's playing Scrabble,
and I'm over here with a wiffle ball bat.
Oh, okay. It's quite the image. I actually enjoy that.
I'm just swinging my wiffle ball bat away, wanting anybody to play with me, and I'm like, hey guys, this is the game I'm trying to play. Do you guys want to play a game? And they're like, we're playing Scrabble, but we won't tell you our rules because
just guess what we're saying. The words. Also, what language? Just all the things.
So that's my experience of like, I must be saying the wrong things, doing the wrong things. Like it's not, I'd like to think that it's not like bringing into question my whole personality and experience. It's not, honestly. It's just dating.
I'm just trying to figure out where the hole is.
Ma'am, this is not that kind of podcast.
You're going, did I do it again? I swear I counted to 15.
I'm gonna take this out as soon as we're done. This is a grounding exercise where I can hopefully like slow down and like.
Are you the kind of therapist who sits in the office and just like crochets as someone talks, like grandma?
No, but I wonder if that would be soothing. Okay, feel like I haven't finished a thought. I'm just really unsure of whether or not I should even be online dating. It makes me insecure about I must be interacting with people. I think it's super fun to like open up with like a joke or a silly question, because honestly, a person that I want to be with is going to be able to have like silly questions and jokes.
Be curious. I know we talked about that, right? Be
sure
curious.
We did. Nobody else likes this. The people that I am selecting on Bumble do not seem to like this. I had a really sad interaction where literally I finished my joke. I won't tell you my joke. It's my secret joke. It's not. But I did it, and he literally typed back crickets. And I was like, you're not even going to give me a courtesy laugh, bro? Like, nothing.
I appreciate the honesty a little bit.
I don't, because then he unmatched me, and it hurt my feelings. He was like he like did pottery. Like, you're not better than me, sir.
No one is better than anyone on a dating app. We are all just wandering around this world, just trying to find someone.
Sure. Well, I would like to talk through. I had like an especially rough day with it earlier this week, and Tresla was being like really sweet and trying to encourage me through it.
Badly. And I feel like I was so bad.
You did good, because you know it was a conversation, and it's not your job to like fix it for me. But I would love for you to share the analogy that you used.
Oh shit!
To encourage me,
girl. Why would you put me on the spot like that? Hey, remember that conversation?
Here's the thing.
It's so Virgo of you. It's just like,
I have receipts.
As per my previous email.
So we were talking about this, and Tresla was like, you know, like dating is like you're hungry and you're at this buffet.
Oh yes, the hunger buffet.
Yes. But you're not trying to find your perfect food. You're trying to find food that you can stomach for now.
Okay, that is not how I meant it.
And I was like, what a shitty way to eat. Dumpster diving, an option.
Where's my phone? I want my phone.
Your phone is filming us right now. Would you like me to grab my phone?
I would like for you to pull that.
Get ready to peep my jorderalls, guys. They're my favorite item of clothing.
Also, can we I still am convinced that you are the one who came up with the word jorderalls.
I did not. I would love to take credit for the greatest name for a piece of clothing. I understand I look like a toddler, but maybe I do that on purpose.
I promise you, you will never look like a toddler, especially with those tits. You're fine. Listen, we have already established that your parents listen. Everything's fine.
It's fine. Just fine.
Okay, so when I was taught, let me explain before she starts reading this. What I meant to say was, you're at a buffet, right? and you've got to find your like everyone knows at the buffet you've got the shitty food, like the iceberg lettuce, and it's just sitting there next to the pudding, right? And then you have like steak, but the steak isn't flavored properly. You've got to find your own like what you like on this buffet, but that like you have to picture like giants. You got to find the thing on this ginormous buffet that you like. Add to it that you might be vegetarian. You might be vegan. So now you've eliminated a lot of these things, but now you have to find it.
Mm-hmm.
And it does suck, but that's what dating apps feel like to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally like you're at a buffet. I mean, there's everybody in the world. Everyone on that app wants to date. Everyone on that app is looking to meet someone for some purpose.
Sure.
But now you've got to find out the details. Like, okay, well, what can I... So when I said, what can you stomach? I literally meant what's
like
your
dietary
Easter egg?
Restrictions, as opposed to what's not going to give you a violent food poisoning, which is how I read it. Because you know what, you guys, when you're not in a good place, you automatically go to the worst possible thing. I appreciate that.
Welcome, Insecurity. You know what, that was something... So through the last few weeks, I've been going through quite a severe depression. And if you guys need help with depression, please reach out. Find the people that you need help with. Help too. There's a lot of hotlines and such. But going past that very quickly, I have, what was I saying about the depression? Wow, I'm really, I'm like.
How you've gotten through it, what's helped, what you've been, what it has made you insecure.
No, okay, so there was one moment that I had written out, Guru, in a moment of insecurity. And I wrote her and I said, I was expressing what was going wrong. Like everything felt like it was going wrong. And she said to me, she goes, when you're in the middle of anxiety and depression, it's sort of wired that all your feelings sort of lie to you. You feel like everything, you're in a lie. Essentially, you live the lie.
Right.
But those lies feel like they're true. And what Guru said to me at the time was, please know that while you are feeling these things, I don't believe that they are true. And it was perhaps the most helpful golden piece of information that I've received in a while. Like I have literally pages of things that friends have said to me in the last few months that have truly helped me sort of trudge through what's going on. That's one of them, because when we get to those insecure places like she's talking about in the dating, where like the buffet of disgust and you just gotta choose what you can stomach, you have to
I don't even want to eat here.
She's just like,
this is not my choice. I don't even like Olive Garden.
Realize that when you get to that
Olive Garden doesn't have a buffet, we're moving on.
Also, they have great salad dressing. But realize that when we're in that place of insecurity, when we're in a place of anxiety or depression, a lot of lies feel like they're very true. And that's why when we go back to like our earlier podcast, we talk about getting to know yourself. Who are you? Being secure in that. Like, I remember when you wouldn't start even consider online dating. Mm-hmm. Like the idea of even putting your images up there, putting yourself out there, being anything was a big deal. You've now gotten to the point where she's like, okay, I'm cute. Now talk to me. And they're like, talking's hard.
Well, and I wonder if people don't understand, there's the people on the apps that, again, I interact with, and I know my negative mind, like what I was talking about with that was like when you're in a negative state of mind, what's easiest to access are more negative thoughts. Like that's just a fact. When you're unhappy, when you're depressed, when you're sad, it's just easier to get to this more sad stuff. Like that's just correct. That's just fact.
It's easier to believe that lie, right?
Right. And so when I am getting frustrated, I am trying not to make like huge generalized statements of like all men are like frustrating or terrible or they don't want to talk. They're only interested in one thing, because I know that that's not true. I experience a lot of varieties of like really like thoughtful, kind, like compassionate, like awesome guys in all sorts of places in my life. The people, my friends are in relationships, my own friends, coworkers. Like I see that there are like male human beings that are able to have like profound conversation and connection with the people around them. I just can't seem to find those people. And I wonder if, so when I say that like online dating brings out like the worst of people, it doesn't encourage that time and space to get to know somebody and to be vulnerable, because we are always constantly ready for people to bail, for people to ghost, for people to suddenly demand something that you're not
You
into.
expect the least. People say to expect the least. I wasn't that way.
Well, and that is, what a depressing way to start a relationship. That's not how I want to engage with other people. I expect better than that from like my friends, and therefore I expect better than that from my potential partners. And I also know that everybody on this app has the capacity to like have like really good and thoughtful conversation.
I am a mess over
And
here.
it's hard, but you know what? This is about keeping up anyways. I'm like slowly watching your mic sink down. So I know that they have the capacity, they're just not interested. That's not what they're there for, maybe. And who knows why? Maybe it's because the way that we are socialized to like flirt and begin is like very surface level. Maybe it's because they're not looking for actual emotional connection. They're looking for like very like quick and accessible physical connection. It's all sorts of things. And I have to work on not taking that personally, because at my worst, I take that very personally.
Okay. It is hard not to. I feel like people saying not to take it personally isn't the way to do this. I think I think that's the problem, is that a lot of people don't take it personally. So they've sort of like, what do you call that thing where they've like separated themselves from the actual experience?
Depersonalization is
okay.
literally the.
So we have clinical terms.
Well, it's like a way
specialists.
you're disconnecting. You're disconnecting because if you were So when I go through this app, and in the span of like a minute, I can include or exclude 13 people from my life forever based on the most minimal, like that is a very inhumane way to interact with people.
But that is the way we do it. And, and for those people who want to spend money, you can then go through. And so I did. I actually spent the extra money when I was on Bumble, or I didn't do it on Tinder, which is funny because I met my boy on Tinder. But on Bumble, I definitely put in the filters because I knew what I was into. I knew what I was looking for. I wasn't afraid to say it that I was looking for it. And if someone came to me with the offer of something else, I thanked them for the offer. I think even if it was like, I mean, I've had some baby, you looking for some fun tonight? Like, I appreciate that. I am having fun with my friends. I wish you luck.
I have other ways to find fun.
I wish you luck on your endeavors. May you find what you were looking for. Good luck. It's not like, hey, asshole, you're the 5th person today who asked that. Like, that's like basic customer service rules here. You know?
Customer service.
Like basic customer service. I'm award-winning customer service right here, baby. And when you have
But you're not a customer. They're not paying you. They're another like person.
They're not paying you, but they're another person, and it's the word service. It's who are the question is
why do I have to serve them?
You don't have to serve them.
Adult.
You are serving yourself.
Okay.
You are serving yourself to not get all worked up over someone telling you exactly what they need and what they want from you, and your options are in your control. I say yes, I say no. It was funny, as I was painting the piano, I think we were priming it, David? Yeah, I think we were priming it. He's over there. So we were priming the piano, and I had an offer come in on my Instagram. He's like, saw you on OkCupid. This is a few days ago, by the way. And I'm like, what? I'm not, and so, he asked if I was single. And I said, I'm not on OkCupid. Could you take a screenshot? Because I've been catfished before. You know, like someone's used my images to, which, can I tell you, it's one of the most weirdest, flattering things for someone to use your images to go find dates. It's strange. Like, I don't know what you're looking for out there, but cool. I wonder what else I'm saying. But this guy wrote me, and I told him, like, no, I'm sorry. I am not single right now. I am seeing someone. Thank you for your offer. Blah, blah, right? And he goes, well, is he interested in a third party? I'm into that too. And I went,
well, I think he also said something more about your body.
No, well, so that's where it ended up. He said he's like, I'm into a third person too. And I said, you know what, I'll let him know. But as of now, as far as I'm aware, that's not an option. And also, no, thank you. And that's when he pushed the limit. He said, I love your body. And I went, you know what, it's best that you leave me alone. Thank you, for the compliment, but you've gone too far. And it's weird because he told me exactly what he's wanting. And within a span of like, I'd say like, 4 minutes, I was able to just sort of diffuse the situation, walk away, and now I have a weird, funny story. But I treated him like a human being. Like, thank you so much. And then I screenshotted it and, of course, sent it to my boy. But it was funny to me, this whole situation. Like, you can choose how to diffuse. That's it. Did that rhyme?
Yeah. I didn't like it.
I hated it so much. Namaste, everyone. And we're done. No, I do think your reactions really matter. I'm learning that every day with how I'm doing stuff with people, and it's hard.
Surprise, they only matter to you, because the other people on the other end of like the Bumble or the Instagram message don't care.
But it makes your experience much better.
Exactly. And so if you are the one like fuming and getting mad, you're only ruining your day. And so that is what like.
Which let me tell you, just truly, Shabd, when she's mad and fuming, she's kind of adorable. So if you are guys who are watching this and you find her, hi Mama, I know, she's whatever. I don't care. She's adorable when she's fuming and mad.
I am adorable. That's not the point.
I mean, don't go around making her mad, but I'm just saying. I cannot seem to get this count right. I'm telling you. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to crochet, and I'm like on the first 4 rows this entire time. What have you made? Okay.
But I'm doing
this?
it wrong. It's very bumpy.
I made a limp dick.
This is the craft corner. This is my problem with crochet is it's easy to make it lumpy like this. But that's fine. This is merely for an experiential. Do you see how the edges are lumpy?
That's not supposed to be the way?
It's supposed to be a straight line. I'm going to try to fix it and show you what it's supposed to look like.
It's not going to happen.
I'm not going to be able to do a good job. So
she's literally knitted this unicorn that was the size of a cashew.
Ooh, it was so hard too. But so we wanted to bring up the idea of insecurity because, like, when we talk about like body positivity and being like a whole healthy, like awesome person, it's very much a moving target. And sometimes shit goes down and your life gets harder, or situations change, or new challenges come up, and you find that you are constantly like, I am so frustrated because I was like, I thought I had this down. I thought I had my like worth in relation to other people. I thought I knew that I was like rad, and all it takes is a couple of these, like, it's so disappointing to be talking to somebody and you get excited and it's like good conversation or it's interesting conversation, and then they either like fall away or aren't as available as you want them to, and it was more upsetting to me than I want it to be. I
hate that. I'm so sorry.
And this is what I guess dating is, right? It's making yourself available to
be
her.
I was like,
that's what it is. And if it, like, obviously we all want to date exactly one time. You find the perfect person and your relationship is wonderful.
I loved dating.
And it's forever. I hate dating so much.
I loved it. And that's what I'm finding surprising with everyone around me. Out of all the things that I do, one of the things I do miss is, so I guess I never looked at dating the way other people looked at it. I always looked at it as this way of just, you get out, you get cute, and you meet someone new. It may or may not work. And
so you enjoy the process of that, which I think is not dissimilar to the way you enjoy cooking. You enjoy the, like, trial and error of it. You enjoy the experience. You enjoy the like getting dolled up, like having the conversation, the flirting, the figuring out where you're going is like part of a fun experience for you. And for me, almost every single part of that fills me with anxiety.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Fun, and it's like, because, and that's not a good thing. That is me trying to control. That's me avoiding discomfort. That's me wanting to like know the end of the book before I start the book, right? Like that's not
you want to know it's a good book before you even start it.
I need a guarantee.
That's not how people work, though.
I would like to make a suggestion that that's how people should work. David agrees with me. You guys, team meeting. What if we just all tell people how we are and we're honest? Because this is the thing, is that even when I find the opportunity to like have the conversation of like, this is what I'm into, it was so frustrating because there's this guy whose profile I found. I don't know why this is, I don't know. I'm going to finish the story. It's like a pretty thoughtful profile, good variety of information, like had a little sense of humor. And I was like, great, cool, let's start a conversation. Couple back and forth, whatever. And then he was like, oh, well, what are you looking for? And I gave like a very thoughtful answer about like adventure and companionship and like exploration and like honesty and fun. And he goes, I like to have fun. What are you doing tonight? And I was like,
so you have to, so there are like code words on online dating that you have to learn. And so this is going to be a little education for people who don't know. The word I like to have fun means, did I get yarn in my so as I tell you the definition of something, I'm like, what the heck? I like to have fun means I like to have the sexy times.
I like to have fun exactly for one person, and that one person is me. And if you happen to stay still long enough for me to have fun at you, I would appreciate it. That's what the fuck that means.
You guys, did you find your trigger? Anyone? Anyone want to look at it?
Because what I would like to say is like, hey, bro, your definition of fun is generally not that fun for anyone else.
God, I need to turn this sound down.
Sorry.
I just have to like double check that she's not screamed into the mic. Okay, yeah, like her sound waves are like this big and mine are like this big. I'll move your mic
further away somehow.
I don't know how.
Can we put my mic in another room?
Literally,
is that
like
what works?
What, a forearms?
Yeah, no, this is a full foot away from my face, which is not how microphones work.
Well, it works now because now
I
we're balanced.
learned how to project. So yeah.
So code words.
Fun.
So we're gonna go back to code words. Code words. I like to have fun means I like basically from what I've understood, that's like, hey, I want to have sex tonight. I like one night stands. I like casual sex. That kind
immediate gratification type situation.
Yeah, fun means like fun in online dating world means I buy all my groceries off the impulse buy shelf. You guys got that? Everyone have that? Mm-hmm. You know, basically I only eat gum and candy. And I don't do a nutritional plan at all. Like I don't actually walk around the grocery store. I take what I can find and that's that. And so when you say the words I like to have fun.
Which is fun for a night, but not a good long-term plan on it.
It's not even fun for the night. For as far as I know, for most women I know, it's not fun the first time. Unless, like, you can get off on your own.
And this is where, like, I don't know. So, that's my experience. And I always want to be careful that I'm, like, never shaming any man or woman that wants to do that. What I ask for is that, like, you do it with, like, full informed consent from the other party. Where, like, if everybody's on board with that, hell yeah, let's do it. But my experience and the experience I hear about is that people get there with dishonesty. Okay. And I say that after we're, like, very clear that he said it was fun, and I was like, I'm not into that fun, and then we stopped our conversation, but it just made me really mad. And so maybe he's being, like, ethical and clear about it, and I should have applauded him for, like, thank you for letting me know.
Okay, you don't need to applaud him for offering you his dick.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
I'm just sorry.
I don't want to.
There's a line here, and I know that I'm like, well, this and this and this, but that is a line. Here's the thing: you can say thank you for the offer. Okay, we go back to the practice of gratefulness. You know, being grateful for what we have.
An attitude of gratitude.
Oh God, we're just rhyming everything.
That's a
what is that? Well, decompressed to. I don't even know. Whatever. I said something earlier that made me sad.
I didn't.
Whatever the case is. It is your choice to react, but to be grateful for someone offering, you don't have to. You can. What I do, and this is what I say, is thank you so much for showing me who you are as early as possible. Sure. Thank you for showing me your intention.
Thanks for being clear.
Thank you for being clear with your wants and needs. They don't mean mine, and I mean this across the board. When you're dating, if someone's not responsive to you, and you're someone who desires response, someone who would make you a priority or make talking to you a little bit of a priority, and I'm talking within a few days, and they're not doing that anymore. Like they were very, and with just a disappearance. They're not like, hey, I'm going to be busy the next few days, but I'll contact you soon. That's a whole different thing. But like I'm saying, like you need to know what it is. It's more about, I don't know how we went from being completely insecure to this.
Well, because these are the things that make you insecure, because if you don't have all the information, it's easier to blame yourself. It's easier to think that, oh, I must be doing something wrong. I must be not pretty enough. I must be not smart enough. I must be not quick enough, whatever it is. Then to have to deal with the unknown of like, maybe it was the other person. Maybe they didn't like me. Maybe, like, it's just a way of like ownership of the problem.
Maybe they didn't like you.
And sometimes it's unfair, which is fine. I'm not
But again,
for everybody.
thank you. So like, okay, remember that one guy that I was interested in, and he told me, and we had been talking back and forth. We were video chatting. We had gone on a couple of dates, and then he told me, he goes, you need to be more of a challenge and play harder to get.
Ooh, I remember this.
You wanna?
Okay,
you
so
wanna
it
take off
was
before
part
we
of
finish?
that. What's our time?
We're fine. I've already checked it.
So part of his conversation, and we could go back and like look into more detail, but it was not only like, oh, I need a challenge, but it was also, he was like, there's not enough mystery. And your response was like, I've been very clear about what I expect and what I'm looking for from you. I don't think I think mystery in that situation is not helpful. And it was very slut-shaming in the way that he said it, of like, but you're just being too clear with your boundaries and expectations. I would like to do what I want and impose my needs on somebody else. It was this like weird, it just felt really gross. He wasn't into being, he was
trying to find an excuse for me to tolerate his behavior and his needs, because those obviously needed to come first, and that's whatever his issue is. Again, that sounds like a him problem, not a my problem. And I believe what I told him was, if you need someone, if you need more of a challenge, or you want to chase someone, go find a dog. And if you need more mystery, then you can find yourself a cat as well. I don't need...
Have you heard of Agatha Christie? She makes great mysteries, because I'm a person and I want to be clear that I'm not wasting my time.
Well, it was also very much like I was irritated with him, and I'm like, you know what? That's what I told him. I was like, hey, that's what you want. That's what you want, but that's, again, not what I want. And I have to be clear with what I want. And honestly, there is something to dating, like you're dating someone who could be a potential friend. Hey, is this my friend? Is this if this person couldn't even be your friend, you should not be dating him.
Absolutely. I could not, let's scream it from the rooftops. And this is a conversation that I think people are having more now, of like holding your significant other or your sexual partner even to the same standards that you would a friend.
Yeah.
And guess what? When you start doing that, you start losing those partners real friggin' fast.
You lose them so fast. Be ready for the massive clearing that comes in, guys. And again, this goes back to the gratefulness. You have to, you don't have to. You can choose to be like, wow, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt like hell when these people walk out of your lives. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's not like, well, you've changed. Yes. Thank you for noticing. I'm sorry that my needs and my boundaries and the clear things that I have put forth, I'm asking for in return, and you no longer fit into my life.
And also that my own needs and boundaries are more important than your theoretical idea of me. You mentioned, and maybe this is a bigger conversation, but when you mentioned code words, the first thing I thought about was when I look at a profile and they talk about an active or healthy lifestyle is 100% code for no fatties. That is how I read it every time. Well, that's I swipe left on those people.
Because that's what they mean.
Right? Okay. I want to be clear that, that's my understanding.
I have never heard of anyone, I'm a very active human being, as ways of saying, I don't really want anyone who can't keep up with me. And honestly, when I see you, on your 10th hiking picture, I don't want to keep up with you. Do you understand?
But don't assume that I can't. You
He's
don't
not
know my
assuming
life.
that he can't. You're assuming you can't by swiping left. So is that too mean? Is
no.
That really? Okay, good. I was yes, you assumed. You assumed that all
we're having two different.
No, you're assuming that he's saying that he doesn't. And I agree, he is. But you assume by swiping left that that's what he means. You assumed first. Is that incorrect?
No.
Okay, but it's totally true. I mean, I'm not debating it's true. I'm just saying that, if you can keep up with him and you live an active lifestyle, more power to you. So I'm into it. I just hate hiking, and I can't see in California. I love hiking in Missouri.
How I'm but his unfair judgment is one thing. Listen to my unfair judgment that's more valid.
Friends, I love you too much to fucking lie to you. I will love you and I will cherish
hard.
you. It is hard. Guys, and it doesn't, anyone who's in relationships and listening to this, it's also, I mean, we all know it doesn't get easier because all of us, it's not like you get less vulnerable as the relationship goes on. Suddenly you're like,
only investing more time and more, you're just putting, it's like you have to actively swipe right every fucking day. Every day I swipe right on you, baby. I love you forever. Okay. So what I'm talking about is, it's true, is that like being in a relationship means you're like slowly and surely putting coins in a bucket. You're putting coins, like every single day you're putting more coins. And then if you start seeing that this bucket has flaws and maybe it's not the right bucket for you, you are taking the risk of just chucking every single one of those coins out the goddamn window because you can never get those coins back. Like,
I am not following this analogy. Could you help me?
So you're investing feelings, you're investing your heart and your time and your expectations. Like, that's what you're putting into a relationship. Of this idea is like, I am choosing you above others, and I think it's a good, in a relationship, I think that that's a good idea. And when you start questioning, like, hey, is this still a good idea for me? You're also making the choice to like, boy, if I end this, I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be alone again. I'm going to theoretically be chucking out however weeks, years, months that I've invested in this. And oftentimes that will keep people in bad relationships. And part of that is the insecurity of, will I be able to start this over? Is it too late for me to try again and start new? And I will shout it across the mountaintops, even when I'm feeling sad and lonely. Being alone is a billion times better than being in a terrible relationship that is not serving you.
It's true. And if it's like, oh, well, this person promised me this, as someone who was in now that I can speak very openly about it, as someone who was, I do say was, in a terrible relationship for 7 years? That felt very used and very exploited all the time and was only staying out of fear that, you know, her life would basically get changed. It isn't worth it. The promises, I will tell you, the freedom that comes after
you go through the pain.
After you go through the pain. And the pain, honestly, is easier to go through than you might imagine. If you are staying just because you feel like it's the right thing to do, or because you are embarrassed at what your family said, or this person made a promise, or for me, there was some cultural issues as well. There's just a lot going on there, and don't. The pain is actually much easier than you might think. Walking away and cleansing and starting new, the hardest part is figuring out who you are again, but that is also some of the funnest things you do.
Yes. I'm bringing us all together with this insecurity thing. My ultimate, the reason why I wanted to bring, because the key to, I'm trying not to yell into the microphone. The answer to all these insecurities is having somebody that you trust to process this stuff with. When I'm feeling insecure about the way I'm doing my online dating, and I have multiple people, I talk to multiple people about it. Tresla is a very important primary person for that. But it's somebody that I trust to go, am I insane? Am I doing this wrong? Do you have any genuine thoughts? Like, if I am missing something important, or if I am shooting myself in the foot here and I'm not aware of it, let them tell me that I'm doing something wrong. But they will also reassure me that it's okay for me to be frustrated, that it's okay for me to not want what everybody else wants, or to not want me to not want to do the same things that everybody else is doing. Like,
it's a sifting process.
Right. Somebody that you can check in with, that can make sure you're doing the right things, that your insecurities, because again, if you're feeling bad, your brain is telling you more bad things. That's just the nature of it. And sometimes that is correct and sometimes that's incorrect. The difference is that if you have somebody you trust to like help you sort through what's correct, what's incorrect, to remind you what's good about yourself, to remind you what you're worth, to remind you why you want to keep going. Like, for me, I'm like, why am I not just like deleting this app and like throwing my phone into the ocean? Like,
because that's like giving up. And I'm saying, here's the thing. We had that conversation yesterday.
Sure did.
Yesterday, where I said, this is the point at every year, and you guys who follow our podcast will know this is about the point every year. I'm sorry, shady.
It's not shady if it's true.
Oh, it kind of can be.
I do. No, I give up.
But when it gets uncomfortable to this point, she's, because here's the thing. We've been taught, we're talking about respecting other people's boundaries, well, in online dating world or in dating, you'll hear women go, well, I wish you would have pushed me a little bit more. Or guys are like, well, I had no idea, so
I'm not sure what you mean.
Like, when giving up in online dating because someone's put their boundary down, they're saying like, they're not talking. So you automatically assume like, oh, they don't want to talk to me anymore. This is over. People react because that's called respect. The conversation's over. Let me leave. But like the extra little push of saying, hey, is this conversation over? Like, not in a rude way, not like, ooh, it's just like, okay, well, I haven't heard from you in a while. I really enjoyed talking to you. Like a formal goodbye for yourself.
Well, and taking the emotional risk of like, are we done with this or not? Like, I'd like for us to be concrete about it, because then that gives you closure, gives you an opportunity to say anything extra that you want, but also opens the door that if the other person is still on board, for you to continue, as opposed to like, and
also for you to decide whether this kind of person who doesn't communicate those needs is someone you want. Like if they're like, yeah, no, I'm still interested, but no explanation as to what happened, that may not suit you.
Well, yeah, and isn't aware that they like created some giant turmoil in your life because they like didn't care to speak up about something.
In insecurity, we all feel like we're lied to, and then when a boundary is put up, we immediately take it very personally. Everything seems like it's true, and it feels very true. No matter what everyone else tells us, what we perceive to be true feels very true to us. And it is kind of it is a very personal journey to say, hey, are we going to push through this? Are we going to find ourselves on the other side? Or are we going to hit the reset button, which is what Shabd was doing every time. She'd just be like, you know what, I'm done with this. And for me, she's out. Okay, I was like, what does that word? And she was out, and she would end it. And so I said, you know what, why don't we try something different this time? What if you, even though it's uncomfortable, even though nothing may come of it, why don't we just push through and stay like an extra couple of weeks beyond discomfort, or an extra day beyond comfort? Like, let's push through the discomfort just in small increments to figure out what it is that's causing the hangups. And that's what I've been doing in my insecurity. I've been very insecure. I've been, for me right now, it's not, I mean, I have insecurities in my own relationships, but for me, I feel like finding a job is very much like online dating, except, so when you talk about your online dating stresses and various other things, that's how I honestly feel looking for a job.
But there are even higher stakes.
They're higher stakes, and I'm constantly putting forth my resume. My resume is like my picture. Honestly, I wonder sometimes if it was like a swipe left, swipe right Tinder situation, if I'd do better in the job market, because I did pretty good there, but I'm struggling because I've had every single person, like you talk about getting people's opinions, and I've had so many opinions, and all I can think of is I must be doing this wrong. There must be something wrong with me. So when I hear you talk insecurity, to wrap this up a little bit, remember, insecurity is going to show itself in forms like comparison, everything else. There's something wrong with me, and I do feel that way. I actively, the way you feel about online dating, I swiped for you the other day, and I remember going, I don't miss this at all. I thought I missed this first hot second, just the physical act of swiping. I don't. I didn't miss the waiting for someone to talk back, or seeing if someone's interested, and only getting booty calls in the morning, and weird dick pics showing up in my Instagram. And
hot tip, don't swipe on the apps on Saturday and Sunday mornings from, 8
in the morning. Basically, anytime that you would be in bed snuggling with someone.
I, as a morning person, have the energy to interact with strangers, is primary booty call time.
Anytime that you are laying in bed wishing someone was there is not the time to be swiping. It's just a general, because that's where you lead to the false sense of intimacy and mistake. When we are vulnerable, and when we are intimately vulnerable, we make some fun mistakes, and I call them mistakes. We make some fun decisions that you look back and go, I don't know if I would have made that one if I was in my right mind, not laying in bed horny as fuck. Sorry, it's just true. So I say this, that all insecurities have their weird parallels. For me, I have like, I don't know, at this point, you guys know me as this confident, like, go-getter. And right now I feel more like a defeated, like hermit crab in a shell, just trying to figure out like where its next shell is and what's going to happen next and where home is. And I struggle with it. I struggle with it every day, and it's very painful. So I hear you in your, oh wow, I'm going to cry. Ooh, that was very vulnerable. But know that we're all going through it to some extent, that all of us are feeling it, that we're all trying, we're all like moving out there, doing what we can. To make that connection requires for one of you or both of you to be willing to make the steps that go the extra mile, to remember that you're sort of being lied to by yourself, by your own insecurities.
Well, to push past the discomfort, to not listen to that voice that's telling you that you're terrible or stupid or ugly or worthless.
Or that you have nothing to offer, or all of the fun, horrible things that come up that, you know, none of your friends want to hear you say. The scary things that you don't want to admit out loud to anyone, those things are scary. So just as a wrap up, like, just know that, you know, as we talk about this, and I guess I've crocheted a pot holder.
I was going to say we should show our finished work.
I can't.
I'm just going to take mine out. Do you see how I made it a straight line?
I did not see
I cannot imagine how terrible that sounded. I was not bragging.
It didn't sound terrible. It was just a little bit like, really. But no, you guys hang in there. We're hanging in there. We can all do it. And here's the thing. I have had, in this time of insecurity, I'm actively practicing the gratefulness, because I appreciate the people who have shown up in my life. I can't tell you how meaningful it's been to me to realize who are my real friends. Yes, there are a lot of people I realized who weren't my real friends, and that really hurt. But what was more amazing were the people who showed up, and then being able to respect kind of their superpowers and who they are. So in your trial and error of figuring your thing out, don't stay there. Don't stay in the middle of your insecurity.
Yeah, don't get stuck.
Because the thing that gets rid of fear is love, the opposite. Love and movement. Move. Just move. Move to a direction to start letting go of fear and insecurities.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It was a more mellow podcast, but I made a pot holder, so totally worth it for me. Guru showed me how to not make a straight line.
As a note, I'm worried about you using this as a pot holder and burning your fingers.
This
on
is
the little
truly
holes.
going to be a scarf, because it's navy blue and it goes with my red. And it's t-shirt material, but I don't have enough, so I gotta go find.
We're gonna combine
just
more
chase
yarn.
people down with blue t-shirts.
Give me that t-shirt.
Give me your t-shirt.
I want to make it into a
I need to recycle the yarn.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, we love you. We're glad to be back. It's taken a different tone. Check us out on yesandbodypolitics.com.
We have a website. It's gorgeous, built by our lovely Miss Tresla.
Oh, and you guys, I'm really interested in. We read all your comments, and thank you guys so much. And for those of you guys who have been waiting for us to come back, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being patient. Thank you for all your emails and the things you guys sent me. Just, they mean the world. They really do. We are eager to hear any feedback as far as like, tell us your horrible dating stories. Tell us your own frustration. Is there anything that you're insecure about? Is there things in your life that you're like facing that you just, you know, feel...
Let's commiserate, because we're literally all struggling with something.
I kind of want to
2019 has been a hard year.
Oh God, 2018, 2017, we just keep going back.
Remember when we thought 2016 was terrible? Boy, that was really funny. But we're all struggling, and we're going to get through it together.
We're doing great.
Yes, exactly. One
great.
foot in front of the other. You're perfect.
We still look cute. Everything's fine.
I love you.
Bye.